Hello, everyone. So something was announced yesterday, and I kind of want to talk about it. Uh, as we all know, at E3, we got some amazing announcements. We got an announcement that they are still continuing with The Last Guardian. We have the announcement of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. We have Shenmue 3 finally coming out, but I don't really know anything about Shenmue, so that really didn't affect me, but the first two definitely did. I've been waiting for Last Guardian since they announced it. I love, love, love Shadow of the Colossus. I thought Last Guardian looked amazing, so I actually cried when they showed the Last Guardian trailer. I was like, oh my god, I just started crying. Seven's not my favorite Final Fantasy. I think there's a lot of problems with the plot and everything, but I would love to see it redone. So when they announced the remake for 7, I was like, cool, 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 I'm fine, like, that's awesome, I can't wait to play it, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing I've been saying for a long time is that, and this has been going on for a long time in the Resident Evil community, is that we wanted a Resident Evil 2 remake. Now, granted, Resident Evil 2 is by many considered to be the greatest of the original 3. They all came from the same generation. 1 set up the concept, 2 took it to an entirely new level, and then 3 is, I almost consider 3 almost like a spin-off game. We'll get to that in a second. So when they remake, or the original Resident Evil into remake, I played remake first, and as you guys know, I absolutely love that game. I love remake. I consider it to be the greatest video game remake of all time. And if you can come up with a better one, tell me what it is and why, and we'll have an argument. The thing is, Resident Evil set up the whole concept, or at least solidified the idea of survival horror at the time. Where did Silent Hill come from? Silent Hill came from, how can we do Resident Evil but change it a bit and make it more of a Japanese feel to it, Japanese story. But they also take elements from American horror a lot. But anyway, aside from that, they wanted to do Silent Hill differently. But where did they get their inspiration? Resident Evil. Shadow Hearts. Shadow Hearts was originally going to be kind of Resident Evil style. I mean, you look at Koudelka. Koudelka, the whole like wandering around the mansion and the dark feel to it, is a lot like Resident Evil. Early silent survival horror games took note from Resident Evil, and Resident Evil, the voice acting is bad, the combat isn't that great, the landscapes are not that detailed, the puzzles are okay. You know, Resident Evil 2 is really what took Resident Evil to the next level, and that's why so many people consider Resident Evil 2 to be the best of those original 3. For me personally, Resident Evil 3 kind of drops off a bit, because in the original Resident Evil you got to play as Jill or Chris, and then you got those scenarios. And then you get to Resident Evil 2, and not only did you play as Claire or Leon, but then once you finish as 1, you can do the scenario in the opposite direction and see a completely different way of how the game would have worked. And you find out, you don't really know, but Claire A, Leon B is actually canon. But I don't know, when I first started playing, I liked Leon more, so I played as Leon instead. And Resident Evil 2 took what made Resident Evil so great and added to it. So for the longest time, after Remake came out, people were like, holy shit, this game is amazing. And then they made Resident Evil 0, and it was kind of like, okay, I think Resident Evil 0 came out after, I can't remember. But as everyone knows who's watched my Resident Evil 0 Let's Play, I can't stand that game at all. So anyway, earlier this year, they re-released Remake, or remastered Remake, and released it on the HD consoles, so like PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and I ended up getting it for the PlayStation 4, and I played through it a bunch of times, and as I'm playing through it, I'm just like, God, you know what, I still love this game. This Resident Evil Remake is one of my favorite games, because it's just, it took what made Resident Evil good with just the basic concept of it and expanded on it, added better graphics, better mechanics, more weapons, more puzzles. They tweaked a lot of things, they added things, and then on top of the addition of the Crimson Heads, oh my god, Crimson Heads to me are some of the scariest enemies in Resident Evil. Like, people ask me, how do you play through the first part of Remake and avoid Crimson Heads? I'm like, you just don't kill anything. You get good at dodging zombies. Remake makes you good at dodging zombies. And the scary thing about Remake is when you're playing it, you don't know Crimson Heads are a thing. I mean, you can kind of figure it out if you read like notes and stuff that are around. But if you're just going into Remake thinking, oh, okay, you know what, this is just like Resident Evil, and you're just running through it, you kill a zombie, and then you come back through and you're like, oh, that zombie's still on the ground there. That's intriguing. That's interesting. Keep on walking. And you come back through and you're like, that zombie's still there, and he's kind of looking more red. That's weird. Why is that a thing? And then you come through the next time and you're getting claws slashing at your face, and they're really fast, and Crimson Heads are the scariest enemies to me in any Resident Evil. They talk to me about the whatever their regenerators are, and I got so used to just blowing them away with rocket launchers, so they don't really scare me. But Crimson Heads are scary. So once Remake came out on these new platforms, the question then was, is this something that they're just doing to do? Or are they testing the waters for finally doing a Resident Evil 2 remake? And when I heard this, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, you know, this is just fans being fans, and we've talked about Resident Evil 2 remake for forever. I hark back to talking about the thing at E3, and my good friend Canadian Pride and I were talking about E3, and I said the only thing that would have made E3 perfect this year was to have had Resident Evil 2 remake announced, and he agreed with me. So we were all kind of looking at that, and this is what started, because the whole thing with remaster, and then they announced, it was kind of leaked that they were doing Resident Evil 0. And I heard about it, and I was like, oh, okay. So the whole idea was, let's test remaster, see how it does, see if people are interested. And remaster is the best-selling, I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, the best-selling game to be released just completely digitally at this point, which is pretty crazy. It tells you how many, I mean, it's not saying a lot because most games do have hard disk and digital releases nowadays, but remaster, as far as I know, at least in the States, is only digital, and it has the best sales. So Capcom was like, hey, people actually want this. So then they started going ahead with their remaster Resident Evil 0. And I've had a couple people ask me, hey, when that comes out, are you going to play it? Go watch my Resident Evil 0 Let's Play, and that answers the question for you. I do not like that game. I think Resident Evil 0 is personally my least favorite of the series of the originals. I had to stop myself because I hate 6. But it probably goes, Resident Evil 6 is my most hated because I never even finished 6, and then 0 is right there behind it. Like, they tried to make it more like how they originally intended it by getting rid of the item boxes, and it really just makes the game tedious and annoying, and I can't stand Rebecca. I don't care about Billy. Like, the main bad guy's a guy in a dress singing songs. Like, it's just stupid. I just don't like 0. So my whole point when they were like, oh, we're gonna redo 0, I was like, great. That means in order to support Resident Evil 2 remaster, remake, I have to buy 0. And I actually asked, Carcinogen, if you follow the Resident Evil community, he's one of the top speedrunners of the game, and I asked him the other day, I was like, so if I want to get Resident Evil 2 remade, do I have to buy Resident Evil 0 remastered? And he said, I think you do. I'm like, damn it, I don't want to support that game. But recently on Capcom's Facebook page, they have been asking questions about, okay, if you guys wanted a Resident Evil 2 remake, how would you want it? And what does everyone say? The same thing. Just like remake, but Resident Evil 2. Take the game that was already great, put better graphics on it, update the story, update puzzles, update whatever, but keep the gameplay the same pretty much. And then yesterday we got official confirmation from Capcom, though in Japanese when they made the announcement, and I couldn't understand it, but I could understand enough of it, that they are in fact remaking Resident Evil 2. You can't see me, but I have a very happy smile on my face. I can't believe it. As soon as I heard about this, it's like, of course I messaged Canadian Pride immediately, and I was like, oh my god! And he's like, I know! We're both freaking out. God, I am so happy. The only thing that I told him, and he agreed, is that please, please, please do it remake style, and don't make it a third-person shooter. I mean, God, I love Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is an amazing game. 5 is okay. 6 is an abomination to the series. Leave that behind. Do Resident Evil 2 remake the way you did remaster. Don't change it up. Keep it the same. If they release Resident Evil 2 remaster or remake, keep on to call it remaster because it's going to be HD, and it's a Resident Evil 6 style, I would have a very hard time buying it, honestly, because I do not want to support that at all. So bad. Revelations 2. I actually really liked Revelations 2 that came out recently. Because again, it was the third person, but you had a partner, but you could actually switch between the partners, and it was very interesting story, and we got to see Claire and Barry again, which we haven't seen them in forever. So I really liked Revelations 2. But would I want to see Resident Evil 2 and a Revelations 2 style? No. Give me Resident Evil 2 as a remake of the game, with the core mechanics being the same, like with remake. Remake is just a better version of the original. Many of the camera angles are the same. Many of the locations are the same. The characters are the same. The top-down view and the camera angles changing and the tank system, all of that is the same for the most part. Give me that. I just want that. I want remake, but I wanted to remake Resident Evil 2. That's all I want. I just want the same thing, but Resident Evil 2. That's all I want. Please, Capcom, please don't screw this up. If they screw this up, then legitimately I'm done with Capcom. If they make Resident Evil 2 remake and they make it Resident Evil 6 style, even third person over the shoulder shooter style, I'm done. I'm done. I gave up. I started giving up hope in 6. I didn't really I like 5, but I really enjoyed 5 because I did it co-op, and co-op to me is the way to play 5. You can't play with 5 by yourself. People complain to me all the time about the AI in 5, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I've only ever played co-op with 5. So please, please, Capcom, please just make remake the Resident Evil 2. That's all I want. That's all I want. And I love Resident Evil 2. One thing that's kind of annoying me about this whole thing coming out now is now people are like, oh, well, you know what? Now that you're doing 2, you might as well do 3. And it's like, no, stop. Stop. Okay, we are lucky we're getting 2. 2, they're actually going to do, because it's the favorite of or like I said, the original group of games. It actually took the original story and made it better. It took the original game mechanics and made it better. We had good voice acting. We had a good story. We had things to follow. We had Mr. X or whatever his name is. Like, there's so much added to 2 that made it a better game than 1, personally. 3 was originally meant to be a spin-off. Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3, and good God, you play those games, it's so easy to tell. Because Resident Evil 3 is so short. There's really not much to 3. And then Code Veronica, you finally get to see Claire again, and then you see Chris, and you see the expansion of the stories, and it's not just like a side story like 3 is. So, I mean, to me, like, I'm not saying 3 is a bad game at all. It's just that, just let us have nice things. Let us have Resident Evil 2 remake and not beg for 3 yet. Let's see if they do 2 well. Then, you know what, get on your horses and beg for 3, whatever. I don't care at that point. Like, remake 3, whatever. I'm really excited about 2. Really, really, really excited. So, someone asked for me to do a video for it, so I did. So here you go. My reaction to Resident Evil 2 Remake. Super excited. Let me guys know in the comments what you want from Resident Evil 2 Remake. Are you excited that they're making a Resident Evil 2 Remake? Do you think that it's dumb? Are you excited about the Resident Evil 0 Remaster, even though I'm not? What are your thoughts? What do you think? What do you want? Because I know what I want, and I've already told you guys in this little video, so... Yay! The year of awesomeness has continued, and no, it didn't happen at E3, but we got everything we wanted in this last month and a half or whatever it's been. So I will see you guys soon, hopefully, and remember to give me questions for a Q&A video I'll be making soon, and I'll talk to you guys later.